I know a little bit of the background here of Brian's family in the tire business, but you know maybe you could tell me how you got into this home business of search engine optimization. What your background is.
Sure. So, as Brian was on his own journey growing his business online, we flew out to California for a conference, and I was with him, and you know, decided I'd sit in on the meetings. And basically, they started talking about it wasn't even called Google Maps back then. It was called Google My Places, and all the things we were taking in that we knew would help grow his business on a national basis. We realized, like, oh my God, this stuff will work incredibly well for a small local business. And so I was working very part-time back then. And so he already had a business he was running. And it was kind of one of those things that we decided to take what we were already utilizing for his business on a national basis and then kind of funnel it down for a local attorney, insurance agency, a hair salon, whatever business. And that's kind of where Krush It was born. We came back and literally were amazed. It was much easier back then to be successful online. There wasn't as much competition 11 years ago. And we just started ranking everything like crazy, and the rest is history. The business has always been at home with just me.
So when did the business officially start? Was it 11 years ago or
11 years ago.
2010, 2011.
Yeah.
And what Kris, what were you doing prior to that?
I was a dental hygienist while my children were young.
Okay.
And I was into dental sales and marketing a little bit as well. And then, like I said, I had the time to kind of implement what we had learned. And it's all Brian's brainchild. I have to give him full credit for everything.
She was looking for a career change. And I had to drag her to San Diego. She didn't really want, it was an SEO conference. She's like, I said, you got to come and just listen to them and think how we can do this locally. Cause my company was like the petri dish of experimentation of these tactics. And when she was finally on board to give it a shot, we would experiment with different things and they'd work nationally. And I'm like, Kris, you see how this stuff works nationally for our company? Like we're getting business from all over the country, or international people finding us. I said, we could crush it locally. And it finally just clicked, like, yes. I mean, and what's funny is she's the expert now. And I was the expert, no longer the expert.
So how old are your children at this point when you're starting the business?
Late high school years.
High school. My son was just, graduating, going off to college. And, aside from working part-time, I also coached. Yeah. We were very busy. And, I would say that those first few years doing it on a part-time basis was fine because, growing a business takes a great deal of energy. And I'm a believer that we only have so much creative energy to apply to our kids, and being a room mother at school and coaching their teams or whatever it is. So it kind of worked out well that right around the time I was, becoming an empty nester, I suddenly had a lot more focus and energy to devote to growing the business, because the business was sort of growing on its own, just by, we've been referral based for the entire time. And we could have stayed that way for a long time, but it finally was when I could, just say, all right, I'm doing this full time and let's just make this happen. It's a great business. Loved what we were doing for business owners. I take a great deal of pride in watching somebody's business grow. And I always say we come from the business owner's side of it, because he was that business owner that spent a lot of money on a website and nothing happened. No sales, no nothing. Then he hired an SEO company, spent a lot of money, nothing happened. And so it's really nice for us to have developed this system. And what's kind of cool is some of those things that we learned back in San Diego 11, 12 years ago is literally the core of what I still do today. I'm a believer that when things work and you're getting results, don't be chasing after shiny objects all the time. So we always have to know what's going on in our industry, but he gets a little frustrated because I stay on my course in terms of my process. And it's, it seems to be working. So.
Well, speaking of working, so at what point are the two of you working in this setup you have now with the home office? Like, when did that start?
Well, Kris has been doing this for 8 years pretty much on her own. And then a couple of years ago, we sold the company, and so I could be here. So it's been about 1.5 years. So she's pretty much been on her own the whole time. And so now I'm here. And same room, same office.
Sharing space.
So you basically started working together during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Somewhat, yeah.
Essentially. Yeah.
And before this happened, were you guys, did you kind of discuss some ground rules, like how this is going to work? Or were you just so busy you didn't really think about it? Or
well, let me start by saying, initially when we worked together, I was his vendor. He was in charge of me. His company hired me. Yeah. And our working relationship was very much with me doing what he wanted me to do. And, obviously it wasn't exactly like that. So I think the biggest struggle was, now we've always been partners in the business. But I've been doing my own thing for a long time. And now he's coming in, and it's sort of a role reversal. So that's, I think, been our biggest struggle.
I don't really think it's been a struggle. I mean, we've always talked business. Like I always brought business home, any family business. I mean, it's tough to leave it at the job, especially two brothers and my dad. And there's always family. It's hard to separate family from business. And I would come home with my problems or my experiences or my successes, and we'd share them with Kris. And, if they're good things, we'd pull them in to crush it. It's just, it's always been a partnership with business. We both like business. We're both looking to grow businesses or business. And so we always share ideas and thoughts. It's kind of like we do it all day long. It's not like these are our working hours and we're not going to talk business, because I think we enjoy it,
So it's not like confined to the room you're in now. Where is this office in with regard to the rest of your home?
So one of the benefits is our office. We have a third floor of our house. So this office is the third floor. So it is, kind of cool because you're kind of going up the stairs to work. And then when you come down, you're home, so to speak. Obviously the lines get blurred. I mean, we talk business, like he said, whenever it comes up, but it is nice. We're fortunate. And one of the reasons we probably kept our house, that we don't need all the space, but is having that ability to kind of keep a separate office space that we go up to.
Yeah. So how much time would you say you spend in the office together?
Well,
10 hours a day at least.
No,
really?
But I go to the gym in the morning now before work, so I'm home by 7:30, and she goes maybe later in the afternoon. So we're always in and out of the office. You need a break, you leave. So it's not like we're on top of each other 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day. It's just fluid. Whatever you need to be, wherever you need to do. If you need a Zoom, I'm moving out. We have office space down on the first floor too. So
I was going to ask if you have like any escape places you go to when you just want.
There's another office with a door right here that you can shut the door if you need to.
Yep.
And then we have another office downstairs. So we're blessed with plenty of space. And we were for a while doing like everything together. We work together, we go to the gym at the same time. So I think he likes going in the morning. I like going at the end of the day. So it's giving us a little bit more, away time from each other. But I mean, we're very lucky because there's the freedom that comes with owning this type of, home-based business. So we spent the month of February working from Florida, and next year we're going to do 2 months working from Florida. And it's worth all the extra time you spend, I think, when you do work from home, because you do end up working, I think, a lot more. But the freedom is well worth it.
Yeah. No
So you answer part of my question. Like, it's a two-parter. So what's the best part of working together? And if you want to choose a different answer, you can. And then what's the not so best part of working together?
I mean, I'll say the best part for me about working with him is there's definitely a level of loneliness to owning your own business and working from home and isolation. And, you know, when suddenly my networking meetings were no more and client meetings were no more, you know, it's nice to have somebody else to be with and to talk to and enjoy, you know, bouncing ideas off of. So that's the best part for me.
Oh, if you listen a little more, it'd be nice. No, I'm kidding. You know, it's funny. Like we have a we have a new rule actually. Fridays we have a business meeting every Friday morning, and we do it out in the public somewhere. And sometimes it's with breakfast or just coffee because we don't feel comfortable fighting in public. For some to-dos and not to-dos, I guess, list, you know, what we're going to do for the following week. So that's worked out well for us, actually.
Very well.
So we actually look forward to it. So, you know, it's funny, you know, no commuting, that's probably the best thing, you know, it's just wasted time sitting in your car. And we have a lot of friends that are business owners, and a lot of them have been able to work at home through the pandemic, and they get so much more accomplished. Like, they're better employees, you know. You don't have to commute into Boston, you know, for 2 hours, you know, waste 4 hours a day of commuting, and they can just do it right from their home. And that's probably the future. You know, a lot of business is changing.
Okay, now the not so best,
I think that,
or the challenges rather.
yeah, the challenges are like he said. I mean, the reverse of that is true. I was used to doing my own thing, you know, working uninterrupted. So I do a lot of coding and things that require a lot of concentration. And I've always been used to just no interruptions. And now it's not fair to him, because now he's got questions. He's newer, you know, to the business as far as the day-to-day operations. And like he said, I'm not always the best listener.
And I'm the opposite. I'm like a big picture person. Like, I'm kind of the ideas, and occasionally a shiny object will fly by, and I'll be, you know,
He wants to say he's the brains behind.
Well,
the
no, I
operation.
mean,
That's what he wants.
no, I give you 100%. You know, she's not. This is all her baby. Even though I'm president, she's her baby. She's growing it, and I'm kind of like in the marketing and sales side of it. So our roles are still different. You know, totally. It's not like we're doing the same thing. That would probably cause a problem if we were both working on the same stuff and the same, you know, it's like we're kind of separate. And I've always taken like a 10,000 foot view of the company. Same thing I do with my family business. I was the more of the entrepreneur, I guess, more of the big picture, the risk taker. I was I'm a middle child. I don't know what that has to do with it, but I'm more a risk taker. And Kris is like, this is what works. Let's stick with it. And I'm like, yeah, but let's add this maybe, you know, for down the road. But we both have the same. I think we both have pretty good business minds, and we work well together. So we're not stepping on each other's toes.
Those are good answers. I'm just curious, what was the genesis of the Friday morning breakfast meeting? Like, was there like a trigger, that like a dispute or something, or just wouldn't it be nice?
Well,
she doesn't like to be interrupted. So I would ask a question, right, from my desk out of the blue, and she's working, and she'd answer in a half sentence, like start answering it and then just stop. And I always thought that was funny. I'm like, who does that? And I'm waiting for the rest of her sentence, and it never happens. So finally we said, you know, we gotta spend. It's not a long meeting. It's maybe an hour. You know, we gotta spend some time and communicate and finish the sentences. So this, you know, that's how it started.
So our meetings were not going well here. And then I'm in a business networking group, and we had gone to breakfast at the beginning of the year, and we were talking about our business goals for the year. And I came home and I told Brian, I'm like, this is great. We should do this. Like, it was really nice to just, you know, have breakfast, talk about goals, and then how you were going to be accountable for those goals with, these other people. And so I told my colleague, I said, you may have just like saved my marriage, because that was the best idea you gave me. That now we go out for weekly breakfast, and it's good because it gets us out of our environment. And like you said, we can't fight out in public as much, and talk about our business and our plans.
Is it the same venue, or do you mix it up?
Mix it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we go where we live, we see too many people.
Yeah.
We know that's not as
Oh, so you go outside of your
Well, last week we went about, it was probably the same commute to my old office, that distance. And we're driving, and I'm like, it's only 15 minutes. And we're driving, I'm like, this is awful. It's traffic and the school buses, and I forgot how bad it was, and I never thought about that when I actually did it every day. We're not going that far next week.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
That's awesome. I think that's all I've got on my end, but that was, that's some good stuff. Ironically, I've had to meet my ex, and I've chosen to meet in public too for the same reason.
It works, right?
It does work.
It did work. But this is good. Give me some ideas to work on a piece, so I appreciate the time. And if you want video, I can do video. It's up to you. I'm the one who looks bad, but
That's fine with us.
Yeah,
right?
we may use it.
I'm more than happy to turn. I mean, it's kind of you guys have a nice interaction together, and I'm hoping that it's like that all the time, or you just.
No, it
Most
is.
of the time.
We laugh a lot. We laugh a lot. And, everybody else left us. Our families, kids are growing up, they got jobs, and we're just stuck with each other. So it's got to be good.
How long do you plan to stay in business? Since it's something you guys enjoy and doesn't really, you don't need office space, or.
It's something we can, we've talked about. I mean, in our business, we need a laptop, a phone, and internet. So we've talked about, maybe some way down the road, working 6 months, say in Portugal. You know what I mean? We can do it anywhere in the world. And we like to travel, and, our kids are growing and all have great jobs, and it's our time now. So, and she loves to work, and we both love to work. So, it's not something like we're looking to retire. I mean, maybe someday we'll position the company for sale, tighten it up a little bit, so it's something to buy. But who knows? I mean, it's fun. It's fun to do. We like helping business owners. We're business owners, and it's fun.
Well, thank you. Thank you
I've
for doing
always
this.
said we may not need to retire. We just may need to stop taking new clients at some point, because that's where a lot of your energy goes. So,
Sure.
As long as it stays fun and we can do it from wherever we want, why not?
Right. Well, I'll do an official ending to the show here. So thank you for taking the time to chat with us, and look forward to seeing you and working with you again.